Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and let's have a gander at the Oscars, the night devoted to celebrating excellence in cinema. Well, except it's not anymore. It's a massive leftist snorefest featuring a bunch of pretentious films no one's bothered to watch, but satisfy the Academy's diversity quotas, or inclusion standards as they call it. And of course, they started the ceremony with an incoherent land acknowledgement delivered by actress Julianne Hough.
We gather in celebration of the Oscars on the ancestral lands of the Tongva, Tataviam, and Chumash peoples, the traditional caretakers of this water and land. We honor and pay our respects to Indigenous communities here and around the world.
The what tribe now? Didn't they slaughter the previous tribes that lived there? Matt Walsh tweeted this response to the Oscars' vacuous virtue signalling. He wrote, she paid homage to the Tongva tribe, but the Tongva moved into Southern California thousands of years after it had already been occupied by a more ancient tribe. They killed and displaced the inhabitants and took over. If they get to claim the title of Indigenous, then so do we. Interesting point there. Almost like lands and people have been conquered over and over again throughout history, and perhaps assigning collective guilt or collective reverence and praise to people based on their colour or ethnicity is not the best of ideas. But back to the Oscars, and when you think about what a far-left lunatic asylum Hollywood has become, then you won't be surprised that the most nominated film this year was a Mexican musical about a transgender cartel leader. No, really. The film Emilia Perez had 13 nominations, including for Best Picture, and it even scored a Best Actress nomination for a dude identifying as a woman, Carla Sofia Gascon. In the end, the film won 2 Oscars, including for Best Supporting Actress for Zoe Saldana, and let's have a look at her stellar work. This is just amazing.
Man to woman.
From penis to vagina. Is it for you?
For me? Yes, she got an Oscar for that, and the audience, those crazy enough to sit through that entire film, got an education in all the different types of trans operations.
Vaginoplasty.
Yes.
Rhinoplasty.
Yes.
Laryngoplasty.
Yes.
Control laryngoplasty.
What is that?
Adam's apple reduction.
Yes, yes, yes.
And it's not just actors who've been spewing activist nonsense. Singer Pink is never one to miss out on an opportunity to make a fool of herself. Here she is earlier in the year claiming that, what?
Ladies and gentlemen, and every other gender that absolutely exists, I give you the incredible John Mayer.
Yeah, but they don't, Pink. There are 2, count them 2, everything else is performative attention-seeking. Now to a trans activist posing this important question. The answer is quite obvious, I would have thought, but sadly lost on this soul.
So trans people are considered a danger to women in sports, yet they're considered a weakness to the United States military? Make it make sense, MAGA.
I would have thought that's because the US Army isn't fighting against female combatants exclusively. If it were, then perhaps your question would be valid, but alas, you just went and made a massive fool of yourself and provided more content for Lefties Losing It, so I do thank you for that. Let's have a look now at the great work of Charlie Kirk. He goes to university campuses around America debating lost lefties. And this next gal needs all the help she can get.
Let's say there's, a black kid right now. Would you rather have that black kid have a role model be Kendrick Lamar or Clarence Thomas?
Kendrick, obviously.
So not the black American on the United States Supreme Court.
No, he's trying to ban interracial marriage. He's trying to do all.
Wow, no, he's in an interracial marriage.
He literally
He's married to a white woman.
Yeah, I know, the Roe v. Wade thing goes against.
He's trying to ban his own marriage?
Yes.
What can you say? But it's not just the students, it's the teachers too that Charlie Kirk has exposed for being utter fools. Here he asks the teacher a simple question: what is a woman? The guy thinks he's prepared for this obvious question, but watch him flounder.
Great teacher. Yes. What is a woman?
What is a woman? Oh, buddy. All right. So we define gender as a set of preferences that you have. Gender is a set of preferences we have. Woman is a social construct that we've agreed upon. Typically, we imagine womanhood as makeup or whatever. There is a difference between the word woman and being a biological female. Woman is a social construct that we use. Listen for a second. I'm telling you what it means.
There you go. It's just a set of preferences, a social construct. So if you like makeup and the colour pink, then you're a woman. I mean, can you get more backward than that? They had more enlightened values in the 1920s. These are the so-called progressives these days. That's what they call themselves. And our educator continued to dig himself a hole trying to answer a question which a child could easily answer.
Woman is a social construct. We agree on these set of preferences. If I tell you that I'm a man, it's because I want you to know that I like these set of preferences. If I tell you I'm a woman, it's because I want you to know that I agree with these set of preferences.
Can men give birth?
Can men or can males? If you listen to your bio professors, you would understand there's a difference between biology and what we think
So
about.
I want to thank you for proving a great point.
What?
You are why we should eliminate the Department of Education. Thank you very much.
That is scary. That is who's teaching your kids. That's why you save up for those college fees. I tell you, Charlie Kirk is so effective because he just gives them enough rope and they do the rest. And no wonder the lefties are tearing down posters for his events. Look at this mug entitled Brat.
Why do you feel the need to do that? Why do you feel the need to do that? Why do you feel the need to tear posters down?
Because I don't like them.
Why?
I think you know
Why?
Now, the world's media is again engaging in hyperbole, shrieking in unison about President Trump's attempts to engineer a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. But Donald Trump's approach, one he articulated at length during the election campaign, is actually popular with Americans who are sick of funding these endless wars. Even CNN can't deny that reality.
Well, I think the easiest way we can kind of just ask this is, do Americans like the way that Trump's handling his job and compare it to how they felt about Joe Biden? So this is the net approval rating. You look at Joe Biden back in 2024, he was 22 points underwater. Holy cow. You look at Donald Trump, it's just a different planet entirely. I mean, the gulf between these two is wider than the Gulf of America or Mexico, depending on which side of the aisle you stand on. He's at +2. So look, at this particular point, Americans are giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt. He's doing considerably better than Joe Biden was doing on the handling of the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
Joining me now is comic and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex Stein, those numbers are for all voters, but among Republican voters, amongst Trump supporters, the figures are much higher. And I've got to say, it's mighty nice to see CNN forced to report all of that.
Yeah, no, it does feel nice to see them have to actually, show Donald Trump in a positive light. But I still don't believe anything that CNN posts with numbers. I don't trust them whatsoever. But listen, people are sick of it. There's people struggling in California with the wildfires. There's people struggling in North Carolina. And there's people that are just struggling because of the inflation that Biden caused us. So listen, we're sick of sending billions of dollars to Ukraine where American citizens on both sides of the aisle are struggling. So we're sick of this war and it needs to end right now.
Now, today we had the First Lady at the Capitol. She attended a roundtable in support of the Take It Down Act. This is a bill that seeks to protect people from others sharing non-consensual, sexually explicit images, as well as deep fake pornography. It's a relatively new issue. Let's hear from Melania.
A 15-year-old brave young woman.
Alison Spears used AI to create non-consensual intimate images of her and then spread the images across social media. They superimposed her face into pornographic content without her consent, solely to humiliate her.
Alex, I've always seen her as a massive asset and underutilized asset, I would argue, in the Trump camp. She's clearly passionate about this project.
Well, I think Taylor Swift will agree with Melania that this is very important. And, this is a serious, issue that happens with not just well-known people on the internet, but small, unknown people. So, you have no privacy. And I'm happy that Melania is actually doing something to protect people's privacy.
Well, I wasn't even aware that these deep fakes were being used, I don't know, to blackmail people, to intimidate them. So where they just manufacture pornography that features someone's face and then use that to terrorize them. So it is frightening what they're able to do these days, Alex.
Oh, yeah. I mean, with technology, you can make anything look real. So it's a very scary, dark future with the technology that they can do with all of this AI-generated pornography. So this is necessary, and I hope that we can stop it. But Rita, I don't know if you can stop AI-generated, images like this. It's just it's going to be difficult.
Now, I've got some good news, more good news from the border. Illegal crossings have plummeted further. The latest data shows that February was the lowest illegal crossings in history. That's the claim there from the White House, just 8,326. Alex, they said this couldn't be done. They said this was issues that America could not address. The people were being persecuted in countries in South America, and they were fleeing for their life, and nothing was going to stop the flow of illegal immigrants. And Donald Trump, within a month, has got the numbers down to this. I mean, this is astonishing.
Well, and I'm not trying to lessen all the great work the Trump administration has done, but really and truly, they've just stopped people from coming here by not subsidizing their trips here, by giving them free hotel rooms and free flights around the country. So, yes, Donald Trump is doing a great job, but all he had to do was say, stop coming. You're not getting a free handout anymore. And now they can't afford to come here on their own. So Tom Homan's doing a great job. President Trump is doing a great job. But this was a simple problem that they could have solved 4 years ago. And listen, I understand there are people that are having issues in countries, and there are, real reasons why a person would need to claim asylum. But we have had an open border policy where people have been able to manipulate it and just say that they're claiming asylum and come into our country and receive better social, security benefits or social services than even some of our military veterans. So it's absolutely disgusting. And the Trump administration has put their foot down, and now people are less motivated to come here and illegally cross our border.
Well, I always knew that this would happen, but the speed at which it has happened has surprised me. It has just been amazing how quickly they have just pulled those pull factors off the table. And guess what? If you take the sugar off the table, the numbers stop coming. Canada and Mexico aren't very happy. They've run out of time. The tariffs are in.
Is there any room left for Canada and Mexico to make a deal before midnight? And should we expect those Chinese tariffs, the extra 10%, to take effect tomorrow?
No room left for Mexico or for Canada. No, the tariffs, they're all set. They go into effect tomorrow.
Alex, we know Canada and Mexico are understandably unhappy about all this. What's the reaction been in the States? Because imports from those countries are going to cost more. Is there any sort of a backlash to these tariffs?
I do think there is going to be a temporary backlash where, it's going to cost us some money in the short term. But I think in the long term, it's going to be better for our country if we can actually, tax these people correctly, because we've been giving them basically free money, and Mexico needs to play ball, and I don't think they've done enough, and they haven't stepped up to the plate enough and to satisfy Donald Trump. So at this point, I think they're necessary, and yes, we are going to feel the pain, but now you see car manufacturers saying they're going to build cars, they're going to build Hondas in America. So in the end, it will be better for our country, even though it might hurt in the short term.
Well, yeah, this is all about long-term boosting manufacturing in America, boosting investment, and making it an even bigger economic powerhouse. Now, I have to ask you about the Oscars before you go. They were on overnight. What was the highlight for you? There were so many highlights.
Oh my gosh, what a virtue signal fest. I do have to say I thought Conan O'Brien did a good job, and I really liked Adam Sandler, wearing his basketball shorts. That was the highlight of the night for me. But, just the virtue signaling and the Academy. But you know what, Rita, do you remember how cool the Academy Awards used to be? Everybody was watching it. I mean, it was a Sunday night. The whole world watched it. Now nobody cares. So Hollywood has lost its luster. And it's actually a sad sight to see because I didn't see one of the movies nominated this year. So they need to make better stuff that, people can relate to.
And they need to actually remove all these diversity requirements for nominees. And also, make better movies, pick better options. But I don't think you're alone. I think many people have not seen or even heard of some of these nominations. And it's lost all relevance. It's no longer a night where you tune in eagerly to see who's going to be the best actor and the best actress. And I was surprised, I've got to say, though, that there wasn't more political activism. There's a teeny tiny bit, but given that it's the first month of Trump's second term, I was expecting to see speech after speech after speech decrying the state of America and MAGA and all things Trump. But I don't know, even Hollywood appears to have read the room. Alex Stein, it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time tonight.
Thank you for having me, Rita. Always a pleasure.